The Lightning Network represents Bitcoin's primary answer to the scalability challenge: how to process millions of daily payments when the base layer can only handle approximately 7 transactions per second. Rather than changing Bitcoin's base layer properties, Lightning creates a network of bilateral payment channels that process transactions off-chain with only the final settlement state requiring Bitcoin blockchain confirmation. The result is near-instant, near-free Bitcoin payments that retain the base layer's security properties. For institutional investors, the Lightning Network is analytically important for 2 distinct reasons. First, it is the primary infrastructure supporting the argument that Bitcoin can serve as a medium of exchange in addition to a store of value, which strengthens the monetary network effects argument underlying Bitcoin's long-term valuation thesis. Second, Lightning Network capacity and usage metrics provide real-time data on the development of Bitcoin's payment utility, which serves as a leading indicator of the organic demand that will support Bitcoin's security budget as block subsidies decline. This analysis covers the Lightning Network mechanics, institutional node operation, current payment use cases particularly in emerging markets and remittances, and the implications for Bitcoin's long-term investment thesis as a monetary network. The payment channel mechanics are elegantly simple at the individual channel level. 2 parties lock Bitcoin in a shared multi-SIG contract and then pass signed transactions back and forth that update each party's balance, with no blockchain interaction required until the channel is closed. The signed transactions are valid Bitcoin transactions that either party could broadcast to the network at any time, providing the cryptographic security guarantee that makes the off-chain payments trustworthy. The multi-hop routing capability transforms Lightning from a bilateral payment system into a global payment network. Rather than requiring a direct channel with every counterparty, payments route through existing channels, with each hop incurring a small routing fee set by the intermediate node. The routing protocol finds the most efficient path from sender to receiver, typically completing payments in milliseconds through 2 to 5 hops. The on-chain settlement at channel closing is the Lightning Network's fundamental security guarantee. The final state of every channel is ultimately recorded on the Bitcoin blockchain with all of Bitcoin's immutability properties. Parties that attempt to broadcast fraudulent old channel states are penalized through a punishment mechanism that awards all channel funds to the honest party. This punishment mechanism aligns incentives to ensure honest channel behavior without requiring continuous blockchain interaction. The Lightning Network growth metrics tell a nuanced story about adoption progress. Network capacity in Bitcoin has grown significantly from early years but has plateaued in recent periods, reflecting the maturation of the core routing infrastructure rather than stagnation. The key analytical question for institutional investors is not whether Lightning capacity is growing, but whether Lightning payment volume is growing, which is a more direct measure of network utility. Strike, the consumer Lightning payment application focused on remittances and merchant payments, represents one of the most concrete institutional data points for Lightning utility. Strike processes over 1 million monthly transactions, primarily for remittances from the United States to El Salvador, Mexico, and other Latin American countries. The use case is straightforward. Users in the US purchase Bitcoin through Strike, immediately send it via Lightning to El Salvador recipients, where it is automatically converted to local currency at minimal cost. This real-world payment volume demonstrates that Lightning is functioning as designed for genuine payment use cases. The average payment size of approximately $25 reflects Lightning's market position as a micropayment and consumer payment network rather than an institutional settlement network. Large institutional settlement transactions will continue to use Bitcoin base layer or traditional financial rails because the Lightning channel capacity required for very large payments does not yet exist at institutional scale. Lightning's institutional relevance is in enabling Bitcoin-based payment services for consumer markets and remittances, rather than in replacing institutional settlement infrastructure. The evidence-based Lightning use case assessment reveals that Lightning is genuinely working for specific high-value applications where its specific properties, near zero cost, instant settlement, and Bitcoin denomination, create clear advantages over alternatives. The El Salvador remittance corridor is the most institutionally compelling demonstration. Lightning is processing real payment flows for real people at cost structures that significantly undercut traditional remittance operators. The not yet scaled use cases reflect genuine technical and market challenges that Lightning has not yet overcome. Large value payments require commensurately large channel capacities that are expensive to establish and create liquidity management challenges. Routing large payments through the Lightning Network requires finding a path with sufficient capacity at every hop, which becomes increasingly difficult as payment size grows. The channel capacity problem for large payments means that institutional scale transactions are not currently practical through Lightning. Mainstream retail adoption in developed markets faces a different challenge. The urgency that drives Lightning adoption in emerging markets simply does not exist where existing payment infrastructure works well. American consumers have no compelling reason to learn Lightning payments when credit cards and Apple Pay provide instant, easy, widely accepted payments. Lightning's developed market growth will likely come through Bitcoin-denominated services and gaming, rather than through displacement of existing payment methods. Institutional Lightning node operation is a growing area of specialization for Bitcoin-native financial services firms. The routing fee revenue model creates a legitimate business case for well-capitalized nodes that can deploy substantial Bitcoin into Lightning channels and actively manage liquidity to maximize routing volume. The economics are modest compared to other institutional crypto yield opportunities, but the strategic positioning benefit for firms building Bitcoin payment services may exceed the direct fee revenue. The liquidity management challenge is the primary operational complexity of institutional Lightning node operation. A channel that has processed many payments in one direction accumulates all of its capacity on one side, becoming unable to route payments in the original direction. Rebalancing requires either circular rebalancing through the network, which incurs fees, or opening and closing channels, which incurs on-chain transaction costs. Effective liquidity management requires sophisticated monitoring infrastructure and active operational management that most institutions are not yet positioned to provide. Custodians and exchanges that integrate Lightning provide differentiated institutional services that are increasingly relevant as Lightning adoption grows. Coinbase's Lightning integration, completed in 2023, allows Coinbase users to send and receive Lightning payments directly from their Coinbase accounts, significantly reducing the UX friction that has historically limited Lightning adoption. This infrastructure investment creates Coinbase's competitive position in the Bitcoin payment services market as the Lightning network matures. The Lightning network risk considerations are primarily technical and operational rather than market or credit risks. The channel counterparty offline risk is the most common operational challenge for Lightning node operators. If a channel counterparty goes offline before a channel is cooperatively closed, the remaining party must unilaterally close the channel by broadcasting the latest state to the Bitcoin blockchain, waiting for the time lock period to expire before accessing funds. This process can take hours to days depending on the time lock configuration. Hot wallet security is the Lightning risk that most directly translates into traditional institutional risk management frameworks. Unlike cold storage Bitcoin that requires physical access or hardware security module authorization to move, Lightning hot wallet Bitcoin must be online and accessible to process payments. This creates a cybersecurity risk that is qualitatively different from the physical theft and insider access risks that dominate cold storage security considerations. Institutional Lightning operations should be subject to the same penetration testing, access control, and monitoring standards as any other hot wallet operation. The protocol development risk is moderate and manageable with appropriate operational planning. The Lightning protocol has been upgraded multiple times since its initial deployment, with each major upgrade requiring node software updates. Institutions that monitor the Lightning development roadmap and plan for upgrade cycles during low traffic periods can manage this risk with standard software lifecycle management practices. The Lightning network is a genuine technical achievement that has made Bitcoin payments practical for the first time at scale. Its adoption in emerging markets, particularly for remittances, demonstrates real-world utility that validates the payment network component of Bitcoin's long-term value proposition. For institutional investors, the Lightning network's success or failure in developing payment utility is one of the most important variables for long-term Bitcoin security budget analysis. The institutional relevance of Lightning extends beyond direct participation as node operators. As Lightning adoption grows, Bitcoin-denominated payment services become more viable commercial products. Custodians with Lightning integration can offer differentiated services. Payment processors can add Bitcoin acceptance to merchant portfolios. Financial services firms can offer Lightning-based remittance products to emerging market clients. The Lightning ecosystem creates commercial opportunities for institutional participants, even if direct node operation is not operationally feasible. For Bitcoin investors focused on long-term store of value rather than payment network development, the Lightning network provides analytical comfort that Bitcoin has a viable path to developing organic transaction fee demand that can partially substitute for declining block subsidies. The question of whether Lightning will scale to the payment volumes required to support Bitcoin's security budget remains open, but the current trajectory of Lightning adoption is more encouraging than the pre-Lightning era when the fee market development path was entirely unclear.